I cannot believe we're talking about the holidays.
I know.
I mean, because it feels like summer outside.
It's-
I feel like we're about to have a tornado. I'm just saying.
Let's hope we have no tornadoes.
Okay, you're right.
but-
I shouldn't even say that.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
But it's really, it is, but really, this is the time we need to be thinking about it instead of at the holidays.
Yeah, it's such a good point because so many of us, we get into the holiday season and we have that moment like, oh, shoot, it's here now. Now how do I afford it?
Mhm.
So you are right, kind of
Yeah.
getting ahead of things. So props to all of you for being here. You're my planners. And I think we're going to give you some good tips on how to make this a fun and stress-less holiday season.
Well, let's get started.
All right, I love it.
All right. Oh, dear. So this is always a thing.
Yeah. So while she's fiddling with
Technology.
that, I'm Susan Toalson McGinty. This is Sheri Shannon. She's better with tools. She will get this fixed. And we're both financial coaches here at the University of Illinois Community Credit Union. So we kind of speak it from personal experience. We also speak it because we have this wonderful program called Partnership Program that allows us to work with area businesses and really talk to our members and potential members firsthand. So the information you're going to see today are cutting edge research. So all 2023 information. Shout out to Liz for that. And then also things that we've picked up along the way that we hope will benefit you as well.
So we are going to get started. We've still got people joining us, so jump right in. And again, if you have comments, questions, suggestions, tips, whatever it is, throw it into the comment field. And Liz is watching that for us. Susan, look at this. 50% of consumers plan to spend over their set budget this year.
Yeah, that so happens. And I feel like it happens the week before Christmas.
Oh, yeah. When we're all like doing this stress shopping, like,
Yes,
oh, I
that's right.
forgot this person, I forgot that person, and I've got to, buy them something.
So there's this beautiful thing about getting ahead of it. And then there's this challenging thing of being organized enough that you're remembering what you've purchased for people so that when you get into December, you're not overspending. So, if you're a planner, the 50% could be you've now forgotten about some of those presents. I'm not sure if you know that. Or we just waited to the last minute and we didn't take advantage of some of those earlier sales as well.
I'm the one that buys early and then forgets about it.
Same, I do that too.
I try to be so organized. I'm using the list this year.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about a list and we're gonna use the list.
Yes, we're gonna
Maybe
use
check
the
the
list. Oh, wow, this shopping forecast is really crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Looking at how much money that consumers are expected to spend in 2023 with just online holiday sales,
Man,
right?
$1 trillion.
$1 trillion. Yeah.
That's a lot.
So just taking a look at this and kind of getting a reality check of where money's going this year and what to kind of expect for the holidays. And that's why we're planning now.
Well, and I think these averages are good too, because sometimes I think, if you're single or if you have a family, you don't have perspective on what is the average? Like, how much should I be budgeting? So I think these facts are really good. I think the next slide is something that we should all be adhering to.
We really should. You guys see this? Spend no more than 1% of your annual salary.
So, okay, this is math out loud. $50,000. So 1% of that is $500, right?
Yes.
So if you're making $50,000 a year, which is a pretty average salary, that's $500 is what you should be planning to do for the holiday spending. If your family cumulatively makes more than that, then combine it from your partner's salary as well. And that kind of gives you a pretty good goal, as we like to call it, a pro tip on what you should be spending for your annual salary.
And it really is kind of eye-opening when you think about 1% of your annual salary, because it kind of is like, wow, I'm either way overspending, which I know that's what I do.
For sure.
And how do I stay within that budget? And that's why we're talking today, is really some tips and tricks on how to stay within that and making holidays less stressful.
Yeah, and we're gonna give you some tips that don't always involve spending, because the reality is, this is a pro tip, but if you could budget less than this, then you're just ahead of the game as well.
Absolutely.
It's so funny how this is, our technology is not cooperating with us today.
Sorry about all of this, guys. We're just gonna keep trying, and my mouse doesn't want to work. There we go. All right. So planning your holiday spending sooner rather than later. That's really the ideal. And if you're sitting here today and you're like, I have not planned for the holidays, that's okay. That's why we're here today, is to talk about, if you have planned, some of the things that you can do with your money that you set aside. And if you haven't, that's okay too. We've got some tips on how to get through the holidays without that planning ahead, and also how to start thinking about next year too, because there's no better time than now to start thinking about the future too.
Yeah, and so I wanna, props, if you're on this webinar, if you're watching this webinar and you've taken advantage of our Christmas Club savings, that allows you to put a percentage of your paycheck or a monthly amount, whatever you want to do, and it locks it away. You're gonna be getting that check released to you in October, and you're free and clear to spend on the holidays. Bravo, that's awesome. If you find yourself and you haven't done that yet, we did a little bit of calculation, and we realized that we now have 5 paychecks. So if you get paid twice a month, there are 5 more paychecks that are ahead of you that you can, we're going to talk a little bit about how you can kind of allocate some of those dollars, or allocate some of those dollars and shop now, or save for some of that savings that happens like on Cyber Monday, the Monday after November. So think about, if you haven't saved yet, because you're on this webinar and it's September, bravo, man, we've got 5 checks that we can really start making a difference. Now, I'll also say, if that doesn't work because your budget's tight and inflation is real and it's hard on the wallet, know that there are personal loans that are out there, and that is a line of money with a set payment amount for a year, 2 years, some amount that you can get ahead of it. So as we were talking prior to this, those are 3 decent options. We'll talk about credit cards and how to take advantage of that as well. Have I missed anything?
I just want to touch base on the Christmas Club savings.
Yeah, I love that.
If you're sitting here today and you're like, well, I may have to take advantage of maybe a loan, or
you're going to get real tight,
right?
The next 5 for those next 5. Yeah.
You're going to get real tight. Start thinking about a Christmas Club savings account. This is a great way to put away a little money every payday starting October 1st.
Oh, starting October 1st, yeah.
You can, ours goes from October 1st to October 1st. And so on October 1st, if you have a Christmas Club savings, it's going to roll over into your regular savings. It's going to be there for you to spend as you want. But if you haven't started it yet, you can payroll deduct into that any amount, whatever you want to do. Minimum deposit's $1, and you're going to do that for a year, and you're going to keep it in there because there's a penalty if you do an early withdrawal. Now, that doesn't mean to say that if you have an emergency and that's where your money is, you're going to want to take it, and that's okay. But there's an incentive there to keep you going. And with payroll deduction, it makes it super easy. And before you know it, you're going to have that money set aside. So great options that, whether you planned ahead or if you didn't, or, these are some things to be thinking about.
Yeah, and be thinking you've got 5 paychecks before Christmas.
I love that.
5 paychecks.
Think about that. Sometimes we don't think about those things, and really thinking about that and how you can get slim on your other spending to have that extra money. So, we're worried about Christmas. We're worried about the strain of our budgets. And that's why we're here today. So how do we get started? Well, I'm not a great list person, but I have found at the holidays, making a list really kind of keeps me in line. Making a list of who I'm going to buy gifts for.
Yes.
Marking down, are we going to travel and where are we going to travel? How are we going to get there? What kind of parties we're going to have? Are we going to have Christmas at our house, or are we going to have some parties? Are we going to have friends over? Just making a list of all the things.
And bring that awareness.
Yes.
And so to your point, sometimes we just think about the present, but we're not thinking about the travel. We're not thinking about those extra meals or those expensive meals, or we're not thinking about all the cards and the postage and all of those little things start to add up. So I'm going to tell you my pro tip when it comes to gift wrap. I love me a TJ Maxx wrapping paper. TJ Maxx wrapping paper, you can get some really good quality for like under $10, and those are those big rolls too.
Nice.
So TJ Maxx for cards, gift wrap, decorations, you can get a steal on all of that.
Decorations.
And honestly, I tend to buy a couple of their chocolates that are already packaged for those last minute things. Like I always forget about my postman. You know, those last minute hostess gifts where you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't have something. But you just take that TJ Maxx label off, nobody knows the difference.
Nobody knows.
And chances are it's already decorated and you're ready to go out the door.
There are some great gift ideas at TJ
For
Maxx.
sure.
For sure. And just start making those lists, but you've got to write it down. Write down, are you gonna want new decorations for your Christmas tree or for your house? You know, just really writing down all the things. You might not buy all those things or spend them, but just when you make that list, it kind of helps put the dollars into perspective.
And then when you've got that list of people you want to buy for, make sure you either have a highlighter that you're going over that individual when you've purchased for that person. So you don't get into that week or two before Christmas and we're all a little like frazzled because that just is what happens. And then we overspend and we end up buying more. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I overspent for this person. Now I need to make up with that person. And there you are, you're 50% over budget.
There's your
Always
50%
happens.
over budget.
Always
That's
happens.
right. You are absolutely right. So where does all that extra money come from?
Good point.
Well, one of my favorite things on here is the no spend November.
I know, I love that.
And you can actually start it in October too.
Yeah.
But it's really cutting out some of your spending. And for me, I would do it for 2 months just because then I know I've got that extra cash, but it's no eating out. It's, maybe you've got subscriptions that you're not utilizing right now. How many streaming apps? Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Streaming apps do you have, and do you really need them all right now?
This is your reminder to check out all your subscriptions because chances are you're paying for something you are not using. And that is now found money back to your holiday fund.
Absolutely. And those $12 and $14 apps,
they
add up.
They sure do.
So yeah, there's some great extra money there. So think about ways that you can cut out so you can have that extra money for the holidays. Hey, do you have a talent or a gift? Side hustle. Maybe it's helping a friend out, with things, or it's just, I don't know.
So I knew a woman, she was a local weather woman here. Now she's in Indy. And there was a shop in the mall called The Limited, way back.
Oh, I remember The Limited. It's my favorite store.
It was really great. I'm dating myself a little bit. But I remember seeing her and, I kind of thought of her as a local celebrity. And I remember, and now she's, like I said, she's in a bigger market. And she started working there retail just for the holidays to make a little extra money and to get discounts on her clothing. And she never stopped. She always worked there for the discount and just making a little extra money. And I admired her so much that she was like, I'm going to be savvy with my money. And it's worked out very well for her. I just thought that if there's someplace that you really love and you're going to shop there, well, they're always looking for extra help. And if you're doing that, that's a way to make a little bit of money and get a discount on things that you want to purchase as well.
Oh my gosh, I would be in so much trouble.
I know, right?
Yeah. But I do love that. And there's lots of other things you can do, that maybe Uber, is, what's some of the.
Uber Eats, there's all
Uber
kinds of
Eats.
things.
There's lots of things to look at, but that's another way to earn some extra cash. Sell some stuff. Go to the house, and take a look, clean out some closets or things like that, and get on the Facebook market and get rid of some things. Clean out those closets for all that new stuff that's coming in. Or contact your credit union for a holiday loan.
Yeah, and here's another pro tip. We're gonna call it a holiday loan, probably starting in October, but it is a personal loan. So just remember, a holiday loan, a personal loan, those are all just a loan that isn't tied to an asset that could be useful for you to purchase things for the holidays. So know that that's available to you as well.
Absolutely. And don't forget to set a spending limit, because the one thing you don't want to do is spend way too much. So try to be mindful of where your dollars are going and how much you're
You know
spending.
what? This screenshot, well, you're going to get a recording of this, but screenshot some of these tips. We're going to come back in January. We're going to talk about how we overspend and ways to do it. And I would love for those that are on this webinar to come back in January and actually celebrate the fact that they didn't overspend, or that you were able to utilize some of these tips. So just remember, come back with us in January. You overspent, it's fine. We're gonna have strategies for that too. But if you were able to stay on budget, we'd love to hear your story as well.
Absolutely. Oh, that's great. Yes. So staying on track is making that budget. Just stick to it. Check your list often. Even put it someplace where you're going to see it all the time. That's how I stay on top of it. It's on my refrigerator, so I'm always looking at it. I love this one. Get comfortable with saying no to
Amen.
Additional
I
spending.
love that.
And that's really hard for me a lot of times to
Well,
say no.
one of the things we're going to talk about next month is the psychology of spending and your values around money. And some of us equate love with gifts. And that's how we feel we are sharing love. And it's not always perceived that way. So really understanding your psychology about why you spend the way you do and bringing awareness to that will help you get comfortable saying no to additional spending.
It will. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so here's some great ideas to help you get started on saving. These ideas are really, really fabulous. Hosting budget-friendly holiday parties. So we all like to have parties around the holidays, but they can get expensive. Not only are they hard on the wallet, they're hard on us. I mean, there's planning and preparation and all the things. So let's give ourselves a break. Give our wallets a break. If you're inviting friends over, have them all bring something to share.
Bring your favorite family dish.
Exactly.
And a story around that. And now you've just added, and you're not as stressed, because it always sounds like a great idea to invite, 6 friends or 8 friends. And then that day comes and you're having to cook for all. And then you're
clean your house.
And you have to clean your house. They better be bringing a dish.
Yes, that is right. And I will just give you a little tip. A friend of mine told me this years ago. If you're having a party at your house, don't worry about your floors, because nobody's looking at your floors.
I agree with that.
Make sure the sink and the toilet are clean, and don't stress about the rest, because if they're paying that much attention, they're not the right friends you want at your house. And then think about some fun things to do. A trivia contest, baking, how about cookie decorating? I have friends that get together and we make cookies once a year, and that's so much fun.
I have a girlfriend, and her gift, her skill is making pierogi. And so she has a pierogi party where you come over and you learn and they're the best pierogies I've ever had. And then you get to leave with some pierogies. And that's kind of her gift to her friends.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
Again, that's like simplifying your gift getting and using your skill and your talent to kind of, share love. And I'll tell you, I think about that all year long, because that pierogi party is the bomb.
I bet. That sounds good. How do I get an invite to that?
I know, right? Let's talk offline.
Make ornaments, instead of spending a lot of money on expensive ornaments for your tree, get your friends together. This is a great time to get your kids involved. Nieces, nephews, some of the neighborhood kids, get together and have some fun. Just make the holidays all about fun. Simplifying your gift giving, gift your skills. I like this one, because a lot of us have things that we can share, and maybe it's just our time. Maybe it's just offering to take somebody someplace, or maybe you give that gift a little earlier and you say, you know what, you let me babysit the kids. You and your husband go out for a night on the town, go to dinner. Maybe you're going to do a little Christmas shopping, but it's okay to give a gift early too,
Right.
because that's so appreciated. But just think about things that you can give of your time, or if you've got a special skill that maybe it's baking, maybe it's cooking a meal for somebody, give them a coupon that says, let me know when you want me to cook you dinner, something like that.
My sister-in-law is a master gardener. She's excellent. And she's got a shop just north, kind of in the suburbs, and she goes there every spring. And when she comes back, she always brings me a flat of zinnias. I can't get them here. And I guess she's got the super secret deal up there. And she brings them to me and she helps me plant those. And it's like Christmas in May. And I'm still enjoying these flowers that I get to cut. And I think of Megan all the time when I'm cutting these flowers.
Oh, that's such a special
Again,
gift.
it is. And it's her skill.
Mhm.
And she's got the super connection and it's her gift. And we get the double benefit of not just thinking about her in the holiday, but I get to enjoy it all summer long.
I love that.
I do too.
That's a really special gift. Other things to consider when you're giving gifts is setting the spending limits. Think about doing Secret Santa, white elephant gift exchanges, or maybe it's instead of buying a gift for everyone in your brother's family or sister's family, buying a family gift, or offering to do something for the family. Or maybe just skip the gift exchanges altogether and just enjoy celebrating with your loved ones.
What I'm really enjoying, I think we're in this culture of experiences and not as much in materialism. And I feel like that's becoming more and more accepted. So when we put our own judgment on ourselves, that we feel like we have to show up, remember the gift of our time and presence and creating memories are oftentimes the best gifts we can give.
That is well said.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. So we will probably use some credit for the holidays. Here's some great tips on how to use those. Make credit work for you.
That's right.
And this is something Susan and I have talked in the past when we're talking about credit scores, and having a credit card is not a bad thing, but you want to make it work for you. And so if you have a rewards card or even our cashback card, use those points to buy gifts. You can use your rewards points, go out on the rewards site, pick out some gifts, even gift cards you can do that with. Cash back. We can use cash back, right?
Guys, what I love about our cashback card, and again, this is the trick about credit, is using it and paying it off. You use it, you pay it off. Now you're getting 5% of your cashback purchases are working for you. You redeem them. That's money that you can spend as well. Points are the same way. That's your pro tip for using credit. If you are using it because you are over leveraged and you're paying all those interest fees, that's going to get you a little sideways. So I love credit when you're able to pay it off. Now, for some of us, our credit cards is our emergency savings. I'm not judging that either, but you really do want to have a plan to try to keep that at close to zero as possible. If you're able to do that, use that credit card and use those reward points or redeem that cash back, and that's funding your holiday account as well.
I think that's a great tip. And I like the idea also, if you have a Christmas Club account.
Yeah, that's right.
Thinking about, rather than using the cash, get those points, get that cash back by using your credit card and using your Christmas Club to pay it off.
That's right.
And
that's
that
like
helps
a super
you.
duper pro tip.
Yeah. Well,
that's really good.
It's a way to get those points.
Yes.
I mean, I'm all about the points.
I know.
I love my cash back.
Sheri loves her points and I love my cash back.
Well, I love it all. Okay. I will just say I have them both and I utilize them I use my points, I use my cash back, and I love being able to do that. And like Susan said, just to really drive it home, it's the way you use it. It's don't overuse it. Use it, pay it off.
Right.
Never charge more than you can pay off, because then it's working for you and you're getting that money and you're making money off of it and you're paying it off and you're not paying any money to get that money. I'm all about making more money on your money.
Did you hear that? Making more money on your money. That's what we're all about here.
We are
making more money
all
on-
about making more money on your money. One last thing that I want to touch base.
Yeah, because we talked about this earlier, didn't we?
Yeah, it's so buy now, pay later. It's this fabulous concept. How many of you, I raised my hands, remember layaway? Right? Layaways. I remember, layaways. So this is kind of like the modern version of layaways. And it is really fabulous, but you have to be careful, because if you're doing Affirm or Afterpay for one item at a time, all those little payments are going to add up. So be mindful of how you're using buy now, pay later, and don't overextend yourself, because it can be really easy, because you're shopping and you're like, oh, I love this purse and I want to get this for my sister. And so you're like, oh, okay, I can use Affirm. Think about what that's going to look like if you continue to shop like that. Now, you have a big ticket item that you can spread over a long period of time. I think that's a great way, because it's helping you budget that better.
So from a psychology, this is why this works, and this is why we forget. If you're paying cash money, or if you're writing a check, which nobody writes checks anymore, you actually have more. You're having more of a memory of that money. When you use debit cards or Visa cards, that's when you forget those purchases.
Mhm.
That's why when you're using a debit card or a Visa card and then you open up your bank account, you're like, wait a minute, I had more money in my checking account. And you look at your transactions, you think there's been fraud, but you just didn't realize how many times you went to fast food that week.
Mm-hmm.
That happens. That's just kind of a memory thing. The buy now, pay later, think about it. You're not even swiping. This is just pressing a button. It is harder to keep track of the multiple areas that you're doing the buy now, pay later, which is why Sheri is like, use with caution. It's smart. It's not a bad leveraging. You just get sideways when you forget that you've got multiple of these coming, and that's more money coming out. And we don't want you to get that penalty of that increased interest rate if you default on a buy now, pay later. Again, great strategy. It's the modern layaway. Don't do more than you can keep track of.
I love it. And because this is a really great option.
It sure is.
For consumers, but we just have to be smart about it.
That's right.
For sure.
Because they're thinking you're going to break the contract and they're going to hit you with interest.
Mhm. Yes.
That's how this works. Where
Exactly.
the layaway of back in the day, no harm, no foul,
Yes.
right? They would just put things back and then you'd have money there eventually for you to take back.
Mhm.
This comes with a little bit more of a penalty
Yes.
that you just have to be mindful of.
Absolutely. Great. Awesome. I think that
Oh
wraps
my gosh,
up.
is that it?
And happy holidays, everyone, because we really are getting into that holiday season.
We are.
It's going to be October 1st before you know it. And we all know what happens once October 1st hits. It's just Christmas is here in days almost.
Well, it's starting to happen. It's like I'm buying my Halloween candy and there's all this Christmas stuff already out there. So it looks like we've got a chat. So I'm wondering if we've
Great.
gone.
Okay.
And you really, if any of you have some tips and tricks that have helped you in the past, we'd love to hear them.
Do we have a chat?
It was just me saying happy
Oh,
holidays.
just you, not just you. This is Liz Welch. We're fortunate enough to have her on our team as well. But thanks everybody for joining. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
It was
this.
really great to have everybody with us tonight, and look forward to getting the recording. Liz will send that out in a few days. And you know what? Feel free to reach out to us after the holidays. Just let us know how you did. We would love to hear your stories on how you managed through the holidays and any successes, or you know what? It's okay. We're gonna be there in January to talk about if things weren't so successful. We just want you
We'll
to have a
some
happy
tips on that
holiday.
too.
Yes,
Yeah. All right.
absolutely.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.